Black Girl Mental Highlights. Here today on this beautiful Friday afternoon, we are going to be highlighting Deion Collins. Deion, how are you doing today?
I am amazing. Happy Friday the 13th. Um, and so yes, I'm really excited.
Yay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Deion, we know that you are based in Chicago, Illinois, right?
Yeah.
And that you are working with adolescents specifically. Tell me, why adolescents?
Oh man. So this did not happen by choice. When
Mm,
I first got into my grad program, my goal was strictly marriage and family. My mindset, oh no, you're gonna save all Black couples, Black marriages, all of that. That was where my life was at for 3.5 years in that grad program. As soon as I got into my internship, I interned at a private practice and she gave me all children to the point where I worked with 5-year-olds and the highest I work with is 19-year-olds. I think out of probably almost 20 clients, probably 3 or 4 were adults.
wow.
My supervisor gave me so many kids, and it's crazy because I love them. Working with kids had to be the most refreshing thing I've done. Even though it wasn't necessarily by choice, it's definitely by choice now. Um, I think it's more so the feeling of serving the generation that's coming next, opposed to forcing mental health on generations that were before me, because the generation after me or currently, in my opinion, is a little bit more open-minded. So they kind of want to hear what you got to say. Even if they're a little resistant, they're still a little bit more open-minded. Um, and so I love sharing my experiences, my education with them. It's been amazing. And I got lucky with the job I found right after grad school. A month later, I found my job as a group adolescent therapist. So I just got really blessed.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and I've been doing this for next week will make a whole year. I've been a group adolescent therapist. Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, wow. Congrats. Like, cheers to a year for walking in that purpose. And so tell me, what was the path, the educational path, right? Your grad school, your undergrad. How did you get here in terms of your education?
Ooh, like the whole story.
I mean, hey, as much as you're willing to share.
um, my dream was to be a photographer.
Wow.
If I I love art, I'm very artsy. So what had happened was I ended up graduating high school. I went to cosmetology school, hated it. Hated cosmetology school with all of me. And I finished, but I never really went and got licensed. After that, I didn't know what to do. I got really bored being like this 19, 20-year-old sitting at home. So I told myself, well, just go to community college. Like, at least do something. Went to community college. I took one psychology course and fell in love. I took psychology 101. My professor was a Black man, phenomenal. And after that, I took every psychology course my, at the time, community college had to offer. I graduated with the associates in arts. And once I did more research, I realized, oh man, like you can't go too far in this field of social science, mental health, etc., unless you at least try to hit grad school. And at the time, that was not what I wanted to do at all. So since I already had a 2-year degree, I went and got my bachelor's in psychology via online because I still wanted to work and take care of myself. So I got the bachelor's in psychology. Awesome. It put me in some actually really good spaces. Um, it put me in a space of working with more children, but with ABA and behavioral therapy issues, and also case management and working with people with mental disabilities. But I was like, that's not it. So I sat down, like had like a whole moment with myself. And I was like, what do you genuinely visualize yourself doing with any of this? And so I was like, I want to be like one of them people where everybody come and talk to me on the couch crying, like, tell me your business. Like that was, and I'm like, that's a therapist, that's a counselor. Cool. Figured it out. The same school I went to online and got my bachelor's, they had a 3.5-year program to get a master's in counseling and clinical mental health. So I did it, and it was hard, very hard. And it wasn't hard because the work was hard. It was hard due to staying consistent and pretty much trying to survive in the midst of trying to be the best version I'm trying to become of myself. I finished all the schooling. I found my internship supervisor at her private practice. My school actually recommended her. She was the first person I reached out to, the only person I reached out to. And she accepted me. I started doing internships there with my children. And then once I finished school, she allowed me to stay with the private practice to get hours to work towards a clinical license. And yeah, so I do sessions in the evening, but my 9 to 5 is my group work with adolescents. So I just kind of threw myself into it gradually. And that's how I ended up here. This was never my goal. I was supposed to be somewhere taking pictures.
Wow, wow. I'm telling you, the best stories are the ones that are unexpected. You know, the best stories are the ones where it's like, I could have never seen myself, but here I am, and I've never been more fulfilled.
Yeah, that
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would have got bored with photography. I know I would have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, wow. So it sounds like your journey has been full of a lot of unexpected twists and turns, right? And so
Yeah.
something that I know that you're really passionate about is mentorship, right? So not only do you offer opportunities for folks to be mentored by you on your website, it's really affordable if you like to have that. Just a quick plug there. Um, but yeah, like tell me, what role has mentorship played in just this life journey that you've had with this career thus far?
Man, I'm gonna take you back to 2019. 2019. Me and my best friend, she is a dental hygienist. Me and my best friend back in 2019, we decided to start our own mentoring program for young girls, ages 11 to 18. It was called Glitz. And it was me and her. Me and her been knowing each other since third grade, but we've always had different lives. And like she was raised in a 2-parent household. I was raised by a single mother. Like today she's married. I'm not. Like we've always just been together, but with different lives. And so at the time we was like, we should just merge what we know, what you're working on, what I'm working on, to help young girls see that you could be friends, you could be in healthy relationships, you can establish networking, all these things. And we did it. We ended up stopping it after probably like 3 months, only because it was a very, very hard lack of participation. And then I started my grad program. So it got busy, very busy, to be honest. So we stopped, but that was where my initial love for mentorship came in. And then I love mentorship so much. I got on Instagram and I found my own mentor. I used to just DM um, Black therapists, like, are you open to doing mentorship? Like, and this was when I was in my grad program. So I actually got I think one of the women that you follow, which is Therapy with Julian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was my mentor for a while.
Wow.
He walked me through so much. She was so insightful. I love Julie so much.
Oh,
Um, I don't get to see her as much now because with her private practice and she's going crazy and doing so good. And then I got busy once I graduated. But through probably like the end of my internship, she walked me through. And I told myself from what I learned from her, I wanted to also do for other people. So why not offer it? And no, is it therapy? No, it's mentorship. And a lot of people, I don't know, I'm not gonna say I don't know why people get it mixed up, but people don't try to, I think, focus on the clarity and the difference of the two. Um, so yeah, I decided to offer my time up to other people who, even if you don't want to be in the mental health field, it's okay to still have someone to kind of have your back and walk you through certain aspects of life. Like it's totally cool. So that's why I decided to offer it after trying to do group mentoring and having my own mentor. I was like, I could do this too. I could try.
wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And shout out to Julian. Yeah. Shout out to her for really just like inspiring you and raising you up. That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's amazing. I'm telling you, Black women supporting Black women. That's what we need. That is what
man,
we need.
it's literally the best. It's the best. She
That's
was amazing.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so Dion, congrats, right? Because you passed your CPCE pretty recently, right? Thinking about grad school, thinking about yeah, when you're in grad school for this stuff, it's really easy to get really busy really quickly because the papers never stop, right? So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what the CPC is, right, in your words, and also what was that experience like studying and then finally passing it.
Oh man. So for my grad program, they told us about the CPCE early on. And early on in the program, I'm not gonna say I didn't care, but it was too many other things to focus on before I actually got to the end where that process was gonna happen. So once I did get to the end, I took it and I failed. I failed. I missed by 10.
Man,
I was on a downward spiral for a minute. So I graduated September 2022. And I took the test in August. And I was more so upset with myself because now I'm like, I am not gonna graduate. I'm gonna be finished with my classes, but I'm not gonna see my diploma. Because since it was an exit exam, they hold your diploma till you pass it. And people who don't know, it's a counselor's pretty much an exit exam. All
mm,
schools do it, and it's a preparation for the state licensure exam. Long story short,
yeah,
um, it's not as intense result wise, but it definitely prepares you for probably what you're going to expect for the licensure exam. Because I'm planning to take my licensure exam either by the end of this year or early next year because I have not become licensed. I needed a break.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So I took it, failed. I studied, failed again in December, and I failed by 2 points.
Oh,
And when I saw that 60 instead of 62, I wanted to throw up because I
oh,
was like, it was right there. It was right there. And so that happened December 2022. Because with the CPC, I know you have to wait 45 days. They just changed it to 90 days before you can take it again. So it's not like I was able to fail, then try and take it 2 weeks later. No, you had to wait. And that's what dragged it out for me. So once December hit and I failed by them 2 points, I was completely defeated. I was done. I was like, girl, you could be a life coach. You could do something else. I don't know. But
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. Yeah.
you want that diploma, but that diploma don't want you at this point. So I just, I honestly stopped caring. Um, until I had a talk with my sister, my younger sister, because I'm the oldest sibling. And she was like, so what you gonna do? Like, she was like, you finished a 3.5 year program and you ain't got that one piece of paper. Like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I don't know. I'm very nonchalant. I was like, I don't know. I figured it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. So around March, Aprilish of this year, I decided to buckle down and take it again. Because at least now by this point, 45 days had came and went. So I had decided, you're going to try one last time. The school pays for it 3 times. This was going to be my 3rd time. So I studied. I studied hard. I prayed harder. And I pretty much told myself to do everything that you didn't do the first time, the first couple of times. The first couple of times I rushed through the test because my anxiety was so high, especially the second time. I rushed through. They give you like, I think like 3 to almost 4 hours to take it. I was done in less than 2. I was flying through that test. So those 3 things, studying, prayer, because I'm a firm believer. And if you do your work, God gonna meet you halfway. He's gonna meet you halfway. So you do your half, he does his, and that's that. So I put in to take it in June. And I was at that testing center for about 3.5 hours. And I went over all the questions. It was like 130 something. And the crazy part, out of 130 some questions, most of them don't count. Like they're like just fraud questions that's there. So it's not even a part of the questions that count. And you don't know what is what.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, as long as you get 62 right out of this, it was like 134, I think. You good, just get 62. You got 60 last time. You don't know where, but my study tactic was not to overly push myself into the stuff I failed last time or that I kind of did poorly in, but to overhype myself for where my areas where I was strong. So I was like, if I could perfect my strong areas, them other areas, they matter, but they won't eat me up so much. So if I got a 10 in one area, but I could get as high as a 15, let me try and get 15 in the area where I'm good, opposed to I got a 2 in this area. Let me try and hype that all the way up to 15. No.
Right.
So I used my strategy against me and just started focusing on my strong points. I went in, I took it. I paused, went to the bathroom, prayed, came back out, went over the test. And I went over it twice, all 130 some questions twice. I changed answers, I switched answers up. And then I just looked at it at the end and I pressed submit. I was like, this it. You get your results when you leave. So by the time I got up from the testing center, they came and got like, they give you the headphones and all this extra stuff. They came and got my stuff. I walked out, everything was printed. I read that paper and it said 62. And I was disgusted, not because don't get me wrong, I was happy I passed. It was done.
Yeah.
Like you passed with the bare minimum. The Black woman in me was disappointed.
Oh, man.
And it took for one of my classmates, she's getting ready to take hers. We was classmates, but she paused. And so she's getting ready to take hers. And she was like, it don't matter if you would have passed with a full 130 or something. She was like, that person with the 130 and you with the 62 still came out even. And when she told me that, I was like, okay. okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. You're right. I did the damn thing. It's over with. It was
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna just take my 62. Like, I was so mad about it to the point I was like, this ain't even real. Like, I was like, let me confirm with the school. It's not 63. You got to get right. Like, I confirmed with my counselor and everything. Like, you got to get 62 right. Right. She's like, yeah, that's all you need. Get 62 questions right. I'm like, okay, well, I did it. The school hadn't received my results. They got them like weeks later. And once they received the results, then they sent me the diploma like within the same week. And so it was stressful, but I can't lie. I know when I go take the state exam, my anxiety not gonna be as high because my anxiety was experienced through that test.
Yeah.
So it was more like I'm calmer with taking tests. Because it was never that I didn't know the information. I didn't trust myself enough to put in the right information. Like I was scared of taking the test itself, the pressure from the test, all of that. It was never like, oh no, you just don't know how to be a therapist or a counselor. Girl, I'm raw. That's not it. Me trying to really retain this information and give it back to y'all. Like that was my issue. And I had to trust in myself. So prayer and studying did it for me.
Wow. That is amazing. That really is a whole testimony, right? And especially knowing too, I think especially like for us,
But
especially for us, right, as Black clinicians, right? It's like, you really have to know, right, that like you're not an imposter, right? Like you can do this work. Like you can be a therapist, right? You can do the skill, do all that, but of course there are these markers, that we gotta pass, we gotta get through. So
yes, it was a lot. It was too much. Like it was hard, but I pushed through and I'm happy I did not have to revisit that part of my life for a fourth time. And
yes.
one of my older cousins, she had told me, she was like, I had a friend who took the LSAT 7 times before she passed. She was like, you're on your third try. She was like, I don't care if it take you 8 times. She was like, if you meant to do this work, she was like, it's bothering you so much because this is what you want to do. You're meant to do this. That's why you're so bothered by it. And she
Wow.
was like, you have to just accept it all. And she was like, you're learning something each time, each time. I'm like, you're right. Because I definitely went in there that third time and I took my time. I was patient. I believed in myself. My prayer was stronger. Everything that went into that test that third time, I was not doing the first 2 times at all.
That's a
So
testimony. That's a testimony. Yeah. Yeah, just yeah, thank you so much for sharing this story that not only was full of twists and turns, but also failure, right? Just really to admit that not only did you fail, right, but you were able to get back up and like not let that failure deter you from this thing that you always knew, but maybe not always, right? But you knew, right, really meant to do. And so that brings me to our last question, which is, what is one thing that you would tell a young girl who wants to do this same work?
what I would tell one of my students, because I've had this conversation with one of my students from work who wants to be a psychologist. I told her the number one thing that she can do is make sure she's pretty much doing this in a sense for her. It's to help and save others, of course, but if your heart isn't in it, you're not gonna want to do it because it's draining. And I think that's something that a lot of therapists don't talk about, how draining this work is, how tedious this work is. It's not all about controlling the mind and this and that and that. No, I didn't have to talk people off ledges, and I've been on that same ledge. So it's really doing this for yourself over, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to want to do this. I don't want you to do this because it sounds fun. You're gonna be disappointed if you're doing it for any other reason
Right.
besides doing it for yourself. And I told her it's also going to take a lot of healing because you're going to heal through the whole process
Yeah.
because you're going to start to see some things rise within yourself, within your family. That's going to be like, whoa, I didn't
Yeah.
notice this, but learning this work, y'all crazy. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah. So just the importance, really having your own why, right? And being willing to go on that journey, even if it may be hard, even if it may be filled with setbacks and failure. So, everybody, that is all the time that we have today. But thank you so, so much, Dion, for giving us the down and dirty, giving us the truth behind your passion, giving us your why. And so please follow Ask Dion on Instagram and stay tuned. She has some really exciting stuff coming out, including an ebook pretty soon. So
yeah.
excited.
So it's actually, I have two coming out. One is going to be a book of affirmations, and I haven't even really told nobody this, so this is like an exclusive. So
Wow.
the book is things that my clients have said to me and things that I've said to them. So one of the affirmations that is in the book is, let me think. I'm trying to think of a good one, but a simple one. One of my clients said to me, man, you taught me about standards, and that stuck with me. And I was like, because standards is that girl. They was like, no, like it is. And every time I get a crazy reaction from a random statement, I wrote that statement down. So the whole ebook is going to be affirmations like that, but they're just going to be a little bit spicy
Okay.
because nobody's walking around saying just standards is that girl, but you will be when you get this ebook. So
Less. Yeah.
the other one is going to be a workbook. Um, that one is a lot harder. It's going to be dealing with a lot of personal, interpersonal work, shadow work, outer work, because everything isn't just about the shadow. You got to also remember when you look good, you feel good. So focusing on the outside of yourself as well. So a lot of physical health is going to be in tune with that, because I'm a firm believer in all of your trauma did not come from your childhood, and all of your trauma didn't just happen today. It's a mixture of both. Because some people had great childhoods, but adulthood is kicking them behind, and vice versa. So it's going to be a merge of a little bit of everything to help you heal. So, yeah.
Cool. That's beautiful. All right. We're excited. We're excited. All right. So everyone follow at Ask Dion on Instagram and stay
Yeah.
tuned. All right. Thanks again,
Thank
Dion.
you, Morgan. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome. All right, y'all. Take care.